Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. It was a busy morning last Friday for local police following a high-speed car chase that travelled from Canterbury to Otago. The offender allegedly drove 3 stolen vehicles during his road trip, including a V-dub, which came to a flying stop just north of Dunedin after police laid down road spikes.
A high-octane, high-speed car chase finally coming to an end in Waitati. The male offender started his journey in Christchurch this morning, allegedly stealing 3 vehicles along the way. That included this Volkswagen Beetle, which he stole from a Good Samaritan, who'd stopped to assist him after he crashed his previous vehicle into the Waitaki Bridge near Oamaru.
Members of the public went to help that driver. One of the members of the public that went to help had his car stolen, which is the V-dub that you see in the ditch down there at the moment.
Police received multiple reports of dangerous driving relating to the stolen vehicles, the driver allegedly clocking speeds of up to 140 kilometres per hour during his journey.
We had reports of him driving across double yellow lines, going on the wrong side of the road in blind corners, so it was a real danger to the public, and we had concerns for the safety of the public, obviously.
Police used road spikes 3 times to try and slow the fleeing vehicle on Double Hill Road around 10:20 on Friday morning, before ramming the VW off the road on State Highway 1 near Waitati. Some roads were closed while the chase was going on for the public's safety. A 30-year-old man has been taken into custody and believed to be uninjured after the final crash, with several charges likely in Dunedin, the South today.
Meanwhile, diversions were in place around the state highway leading to Queenstown on Wednesday morning following a serious crash near the Lower Shotover Road roundabout.
1 person has died after a serious crash along State Highway 6 near Lake Hayes. The incident was reported to emergency services around 9:30 this morning after a Hilux ute towing a boat veered off the road, travelling across the oncoming lane. It's thought the driver of the vehicle suffered a medical incident just before the crash, close to the Stalker Road, Lower Shotover Road roundabout. The state highway was closed to northbound traffic, with vehicles diverted via Arthur's Point for several hours. The serious crash unit has completed its investigation, allowing the road to now be reopened. In Queenstown, the South today.
The doors of H&J Smith department stores in Invercargill, Gore and Frankton will close for good before Christmas. The company has been carrying out a month-long consultation process with staff, but says part of the business is no longer sustainable.
Department store chain H&J Smith has confirmed it's closing its doors for good. After a 4-week consultation process, the H&J Group has announced the company's remaining stores in Invercargill, Gore and Queenstown will close on November 18. Group Managing Director Jason Smith says the reasons are varied, but ultimately the department store business is no longer sustainable. The decision announced on Monday evening will see more than 200 people losing their jobs, with staff being offered support including counselling and career planning. However, the company is considering whether some areas of business could continue independently from the H&J Smith brand, including Gun City, school uniforms and Paper Plus. More details on those options is expected in the next few weeks. In Invercargill, the South today.
The road cones are gone from downtown Queenstown and a multi-million-dollar redevelopment of the area was finally unveiled. The project largely made possible thanks to special government funding. The upgrades were officially opened to the public last week, although a special guest was unable to cut the ribbon due to weather.
The launch of a new beginning, as the Queenstown Lakes District Council officially reopened the Queenstown CBD on Friday morning. The massive project's been 2.5 years and $66 million in the making. 2 CBD streets, Beach and Reese Street, have been completely renovated to become a shared car and pedestrian area. Mayor Glyn Lewers says the project was made possible thanks to the shovel-ready government funding they received in June 2020 from the Fast Track Consenting Bill.
And so in June 2020, we were proud to be the first territorial authority to have shovel-ready funding announced. We were also the only territorial authority to have a shovel-ready project listed on the Fast Track Consenting Bill for our town centre arterial road project.
Businesses, though, are happy to finally be open without distractions, including the end of the roadworks blocking their entrances, discouraging shoppers and creating noise and dust. Guest of honour cutting the ribbon was supposed to be Prime Minister Chris Hipkins, but his plane was turned around due to fog covering the airport.
He just wants to raise these improvements as something local residents can be proud of, to share with national and international visitors. The cultural narrative, which has been embedded into the design of these streets, tells a unique story about Aotearoa New Zealand.
However, some residents are frustrated with the time and money spent on the CBD upgrade, including the controversial $25,000 spent on 50 rectangular Pounamu tiles embedded in Reece Street. Now that the CBD upgrade is now largely complete, the next focus for the council and Waka Kotahi will be finishing the roads in and out of the resort town and working to improve traffic flow as the busy winter season gets underway. In Queenstown, the South Today.
A controversial co-governance roadshow continued to tour around the South Island despite counter-protests in some centres. A meeting was held this week near Cromwell, with hall owners saying it's about freedom of speech. But protesters at the Invercargill meetings had their concerns.
Love, faith and peace for everyone. That was the message from an opposition gathering outside a Stop Co-Governance meeting in Invercargill on Sunday. The controversial roadshow, run by evangelical preacher Julian Batchelor, has been touring the country since February.
Matariki and all that sort of stuff, in my opinion, is brainwashing, and it's propaganda, and it's grooming the country for tribal takeover.
Protest organiser Tou-McNaughton sat through the 3-hour presentation on Saturday evening.
It actually made me feel very sad that people can spread misinformation under the guise of Christianity and unity.
The meeting was initially scheduled at the Invercargill Workingmen's Club, but public pressure saw the club cancel the booking. Despite the controversy, Invercargill Mayor Nobby Clark welcomed the tour to the city, referring to Batchelor as his colleague.
I was a bit embarrassed about the fact that we couldn't get a decent venue in Invercargill. It seems to me that everybody's prepared to tag these guys, and I don't know how radical they are and what their message is, but the principle is you should have a right to say what you want to say.
And while freedom of speech was a key talking point at the meeting, some in the crowd weren't keen to hear the opposing views from some of the protest group during the Q&A session.
Clearly you people have come to create a bit of disturbance. So, we came to listen to the message, we like the message. If you don't like the message, just leave quietly.
Around 60 people attended each meeting at the Ascot Park Raceway on Saturday and Sunday, with a counter-protest of around 20. The nationwide Stop Co-Governance tour is set to continue until early August, stopping off in central Otago and South Canterbury this week. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Whaiakene, still to come on Southern Newsweek. Dunedin educators celebrate an environmental milestone 21 years in the making. And it's officially mid-winter dip season as hundreds of swimmers head to the freezing depths of Lake Wanaka, Lake Whakatipu and St Clair. Tēnā koe, welcome back. The Southland Business Chamber joined forces with Network Coin South to set up a business and innovation hub in downtown Invercargill. It's built as a one-stop shop in the heart of the city, aimed at creating a space for local businesses to thrive.
A vibrant gathering to celebrate the opening of Southland's new business and innovation hub. The Southland Business Chamber has moved to a new home at the former SIT downtown site on Invercargill's Don Street. Chief Executive Sheree Carey says the aim is to create a space for southern businesses to thrive.
It's a one-stop shop for all things business, so if you've got a startup or just an idea for a business, you can come here and the Coin team will talk you through it, and then once you're established as a business, the Chamber will be able to help you with support.
The new hub includes co-working offices, meeting rooms, chill-out zones and kitchen spaces, catering to as many people as possible. Great South and Invest South are also planning to run clinics there, providing the community with information on topics like investment and government funding.
It's really incredible. Like, the vibe's cool, the people are great, the creativity in the space is amazing. We've got people in and out all the time, so we're loving it.
Wednesday's event showcased businesses from across the region, from breweries to local producers, and even pole dance performers pouring drinks for the guests. Carey says the board chose the Chamber's central city location to help support the area's redevelopment.
Esk and Don Street had been done up, and this was kind of like the one ugly building that was sitting in the middle, and we've brought it back to life, and so we're really proud of what we've achieved. The
team are confident the new venue will improve their ability to support local startups and encourage networking, helping southern businesses to thrive. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Dunedin schools joined forces this week to celebrate a range of environmental achievements, helping make a positive impact on their surroundings. The Enviro Schools Otago program was launched 21 years ago, with schools being encouraged to take action to protect and preserve nature.
Age is no barrier for these young eco-warriors when it comes to making a difference. Pupils from around 15 schools came together at the Edgar Centre this week to celebrate the 21st birthday of Enviro Schools in Otago. The event showcased a range of projects from across the schools, along with some delicious food and activities for the pupils to enjoy.
It's just an opportunity for us all just to celebrate the wonderful work that the schools do, the teachers do, and particularly the students are doing, and their passion for Te Taio, for the environment.
She believes the program encourages the younger generation to become more involved in protecting nature.
It's a really good way to empower the students to keep on making those changes and to keep thinking about how can we work to make our communities more resilient and more sustainable.
Enviro Schools will continue encouraging pupils to do more work for the environment, with those running the program hoping to mould them into responsible caretakers of the planet. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Winter madness continues across the south, with Solstice swims taking place on the waterfronts in Queenstown and Wanaka. The events were to mark the shortest day of the year and fine conditions, making it a little easier to dive into the ice-cold lakes.
There were big splashes for the shortest day of the year, as a group of adrenaline-seeking souls hit Queenstown Beach early on Thursday night. Around 30 dippers were keen to brave Lake Wakatipu for the annual Winter Solstice swim, organised by the Southern Lake Swimming Club. The hardy bunch lined up in front of the bathhouse restaurant before running headfirst into the frigid water, despite the lake temperature being a teeth-chattering 5 degrees. But the chilly conditions didn't seem to bother the swimmers, with people shivering their way out the water with big grins on their faces.
It was amazing, coming here, and it was cold at first, but then it was just amazing, and I'm feeling great. It's amazing.
And while some took the plunge purely for the experience, others had a more holistic approach to the Solstice swim.
I discovered this practice in lockdown, and it actually changed my life, really. It helped a lot for my mental health and my general health.
After a quick dunk into the icy cold lake, swimmers made their way to grab towels and robes to warm themselves up. But for serious swimmers, there's an even cooler challenge on the horizon, with a 1 kilometre Winter Legend event in the lake next month. In Queenstown, the South Today.
It was Dunedin and Wanaka's turn to join in on the ice water fun last weekend, as locals took chilly plunges as part of midwinter events around the south. Hundreds of eager swimmers showed up to this year's big dips, enjoying their time in the water, while also making a positive contribution to local charities.
Swimmers in a mix of colourful costumes preparing to brave the icy cold waters of St Clair Beach. This was the 94th year of Dunedin's polar plunge, which helps support the St Clair Surf Lifesaving Club, which has patrolled the beach every summer for more than a century. Around 200 people took part in Sunday's event, some choosing to brave the cold in costumes, while others just hit the water in their swimming gear. In Wanaka, around 30 people enjoyed a more relaxing swim in the cold lake, as part of the town's 23rd annual midwinter water ski and swim on Saturday afternoon. Participants were rewarded with treats, ice creams, a sausage sizzle and a hot drink, with the event raising more than $550 for a local charity.
It was brilliant, yeah, beautiful. Freezing though, so cold, but yeah, really nice, good fun.
Fine weather made for good events in both places, wrapping up a series of polar plunges across the country. Across the south, the South Today.
Whai Yakane still to come on Southern Newsweek. Excitement is building in Christchurch as a dedicated store for a popular plastic toy prepares to open. And giant paper fantasy characters once again transform central Dunedin into an illuminated, enchanted forest. Tēnā koe, welcome back. There was excitement in Canterbury last week as Lego fans were ready for the opening of the South Island's first dedicated shop. Westfield Riccarton Management were expecting large queues for last Saturday's official opening when the ribbon was cut on the brand new Lego store.
The wait's almost over for Christchurch's Lego community. The South Island's first Lego certified store is about to open its doors, with the 260 square metre custom built store showcasing some of Lego's newest products.
It's an age-old brand and it's such an amazing product as well, you know, definitely suitable for all the ages and no matter your skill set, no matter your interest.
The popular plastic brick toy saw its first dedicated store open in Auckland 4 years ago, and now it's made its way south.
We have a lot of loyal and very passionate fans in New Zealand and you know, we've been really excited to get down to the South Island for some time now, so Christchurch seemed like the natural place to start off in.
Rachel and Jason de Vries were semi-finalists on the TV show Lego Masters New Zealand and got a special VIP preview look at the new store. They reckon it's a big thing for the South Island.
We are very excited for this new Lego store in Christchurch.
I'm over-excited for this store, eh? Very, very exciting.
And the Christchurch couple insists Lego bricks are for kids of all ages.
There are many adults that are absolutely passionate about it, much like us.
And it's for all ages, so long as you've got at least a hand, you can be building with Lego bricks.
Doors to the brand new Lego store in Westfield Riccarton open at 9 on Saturday morning, with hardcore fans expected to start queuing up from 7 a.m. In Christchurch, the South Today.
A collection of giant fantasy characters took over central Dunedin last weekend, made entirely out of paper and light. Dunedin's first church was turned into an enchanted forest last Friday and Saturday nights for the city's annual Midwinter Carnival.
A magical wonderland lit up in downtown Dunedin. Dunedin's first church was illuminated with hundreds of lanterns over the weekend for the annual Midwinter Carnival. The event was held on Friday and Saturday night, attracting a large crowd to mark the winter solstice.
So it went beyond expectations, I would say. The weather was amazing. We had over 9,500 people through over the 2 nights, and it all went even smoother than we'd hoped, so we're really thrilled.
This year's theme was the Enchanted Forest and featured storybook characters, beautiful lantern installations and fire performers. And while the event's all wrapped up for the year, it's not the end of the line for these large character lanterns.
They get stored through the year in a warehouse. We've got a big warehouse in North East Valley, and we do reuse some of them and repair them and recover them, so a whole lot of work goes on through the year to bring them back to life again for next year.
The whole team were delighted to see the large mixed crowd coming through the carnival over the 2 nights. The switch to a ticketed event not dampening the enthusiasm of young and old, with the funds helping sustain the popular event. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A passionate club rugby player celebrated a remarkable sporting journey in Gore after achieving a significant milestone in the Premier Division. Heriot Rugby Club's prop, Blair Young, demonstrated his fitness last Saturday, turning a tightly contested battle against his team's bitter rivals.
A triple centurion, showcasing his young energy and fighting hard for his team. Heriot Rugby Club prop Blair Young played his 300th game for the team at the weekend in a nail-biting encounter against Clutha Valley. Young was delighted with the Heriot team's performance during the milestone game, his side emerging victorious at the final whistle, winning the game 24-22.
Good to get the win today. It was a bit of a arm wrestle there. We could have gone either way in the end, but yeah, thankfully the boys pulled through and we got there, so yeah, it's pretty special.
Young was a part of Heriot's strong team in 2013 when they clinched Otago Rugby's Southern Premier competition, going on to win the nationwide final. He says his dedication comes from his never-ending love for the sport and insists he's never really paid attention to his appearance numbers.
Just another game really, it just rolled around I suppose, like week in, week out. Never aimed to play 300, but it's just something that's happened I suppose. So. No, pretty cool though.
Young isn't thinking about when he'll hang his rugby boots. He's more focused on staying fit for the rest of the season and enjoying more wins with the Heriot team. In Gore, the South Today.
The countdown is on for the FIFA Women's World Cup, with a very shiny visitor arriving in Dunedin last week. Some southern schoolgirls got to see the trophy, with kick-off just around the corner.
3, 2, 1! Whoa!
unveiling a trophy that's set to capture the country over the next few months. The FIFA Women's World Cup trophy is on the road, touring New Zealand ahead of the tournament beginning next month. Dunedin's one of 4 host cities across the country. The tour making a stop at Logan Park on Thursday afternoon, where schoolgirls from around Otago got the chance to learn some skills.
A lot of emotions are actually coming through my head. I've always wanted to see the World Cup in person.
The trophy will be showcased at various events across Dunedin over the next few days, as football fever ramps up in the south.
It was just amazing. I was going to cry in tears because it was just so cool.
The unveiling encouraging the young football fans to get involved. Some making big plans for the tournament.
I saved my birthday money and I'm going to the semi-finals in Auckland, and I'm also going to a few other games in Dunedin.
Dunedin hosts its first game of the FIFA Women's World Cup next month, as Switzerland meets the Philippines at Forsyth Bar Stadium. In Dunedin, the South today.
A colourful netball event brought together young talent from across central Otago last week for some friendly competition.
This year's Netty Festival netball event had an extra dash of excitement as players were encouraged to dress up in colourful outfits representing their favourite Netball World Cup team. The event brought together around 51 teams of Year 5 and 6 students from Wakatipu, Upper Clutha and Central Otago. The wet weather didn't stop the young athletes from taking to the court, showcasing their skills, teamwork and sportsmanship. Event organisers say the brightly coloured tutus over track pants demonstrated the spirit of the festival, encouraging young kids to participate in the friendly competition. The Netty Festival moved on to Cromwell on Thursday, with 40 teams of Year 7 and 8 pupils joining in with the netball action. In Cromwell, the South today.
That wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz, and you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube and the South Today NZ on Facebook to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.